Hi, Lauren. Welcome. Thanks for taking time today to talk with me.
Thanks so much for having me.
Great. And you are the VP of Publisher Partnerships at IRIS.TV, and you're going to be moderating a session at our upcoming Connected TV Advertising Summit that's focused on data and targeting in CTV with Zumo, Index Exchange, and Icon Media Direct. So before we talk about the topic today of data and targeting in CTV, I thought maybe you could just explain a little bit more for those not familiar with IRIS.TV, what the company does, and specifically where it fits in with the CTV advertising landscape.
Sure. So IRIS.TV is a video data platform that connects video and CTV inventory to leading data providers in context and brand safety and verification. We've been around for a while. We've been around since 2013, and we worked with publishers and broadcasters and streaming companies to really utilize machine learnings for applications like video recommendation and analytics. We've been really growing rapidly as a result of current shifts in technology and data and analytics over the past couple of years, and the regulatory environment that has really started to shape ad tech and martech. And as part of that, we've obviously seen this boom in video, and more specifically in CTV. So we are, at a very basic level, we're the pipes that are enabling video level data to be transacted upon in CTV. We allow that CTV inventory to now be packaged and purchased based on content attributes like context and brand safety, emotion, sentiment. So we're really trying to bridge a lot of different worlds and put it all in one place.
Great. I wonder if you might explain, just, take an example. You don't have to name a name, but take an example of a company that you work with and how you've created value for them.
Sure. So we work with companies like Zumo and Crackle and Newsy to really help them to understand what is the content that is coming through. Obviously, very broadly speaking, we might have entertainment content, we might have news content, but when you're able to actually identify that a news segment is not just about COVID, or it's not just about travel, and you're able to get very, very granular about that, that's where the true value from IRIS.TV comes from. So you're able to now say that you're looking at a story about not just about travel, but it's a news story about Paris, or even more specific about restaurants in Paris, or a specific type of food at a restaurant in Paris. That's where we're able to really understand from these data partners, what are we looking at?
Okay, great. And Lauren, a lot has been written, obviously, and said about how improved data and targeting in connected TV ads helps the ads to deliver superior business outcomes for advertisers.
Yep.
And optimization for publishers as well. So I wonder what your perspective is on this, being right on the front line of how this is all evolving, and maybe what some of the particular challenges are.
Yeah. So obviously, I think the state of CTV is still largely an untapped opportunity. I think that CTV viewership has obviously accelerated dramatically, especially in the past year and a half as everybody's been locked in their homes. But I think that, we all acknowledge that this is one of the fastest growing industries in the world. And CTV has proven to have superior ROAS over other forms of video. And we see that in studies and commentary from other panels and news sources. But I think that CTV ad spending has significantly lagged behind that viewership. And we, again, see this all over the news and all over the trade press, that we're seeing that disconnect between people are consuming it, but there's not enough ad spend coming through. People are still leaning into traditional linear, or they're still buying digital, and they are much more comfortable transacting on a CPM for a video that's on their website when they are purchasing on CTV. And a lot of that, I think, has to do with brand safety and fraud and transparency concerns, as these brands are trying to wrap their heads around, I used to purchase in this way, now I'm being asked to purchase this way. How do I reconcile the two and still have measurement and attribution that right now I don't think anybody has a comfortable way of doing, at least in a cohesive and unified way across CTV. And so when buyers are now purchasing CTV, they're still trying to think of it in a traditional linear way. And they want to have that experience that somebody is, or at least they are trying to evoke that experience of somebody sitting on their couch and watching traditional TV. And buyers want to understand the content that that brand is associated with. And so a lot of those measurement guidelines that they are really used to in past lives, we're trying to find ways to marry them together. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we're seeing in CTV. How do you overcome that need for these third-party third-party partners to ultimately verify and validate that this content is what we think it is.
Right, fair enough. And certainly there's been also a lot written about, cookie deprecation, IDFA, changes in privacy, identity management, and so forth. Now, connected TV, of course, does not rely on cookies, which is a good thing. But can you say more about what the importance is of first-party data, which a lot of folks believe is becoming really important in CTV, possibly the most important attribute? And maybe where that fits with contextual data as well.
Definitely. So obviously there are no cookies, as you've already said, but there's a lot of other complexity that's happening in the background, as we've already discussed a little. There's obviously no page level data. There's no video level data that's easily accessible and available that people can transact on in a consistent way from one partner, from one media company to another. And smart TVs are shared devices. So you're not getting that one-to-one targeting ratio that many people are still thinking about in the back of their heads, that you're looking for men 25 to 45. You're not going to necessarily be able to get that in that CTV environment because you don't know if it's that individual or if it's their child or if it's their wife that might be watching that TV at that moment on the same account. And so obviously that brings up a lot of challenges in targeting and attribution. But being able to actually understand the videos themselves, the actual content that's coming through in a more unique way, that starts to bridge that gap between not having the cookie available. How do you target? And we think that a lot of this is moving away from demographic targeting and moving over to that first party data that people have always inherently owned, which is the video content itself. I think a lot of this ultimately comes down to how are you able to securely connect the media companies to contextual intelligence partners like Oracle or ComScore or GumGum, and then analyze and segment that content so that it's now able to be purchased by the brands in a way that actually is relevant and brand safe and really measurable in a way that they're comfortable with.
So, and Lauren, we only have a few minutes left, but what else do you think content providers can do to unlock value in their CTV inventory?
Yeah, so I think that video level transparency for buyers is obviously huge. They want to be able to understand what are they getting at a very basic level even. And so where publishers are comfortable and media companies are comfortable providing show level data, that's huge. But I don't necessarily know that that is exactly what the buyers ultimately want. I think in many cases, the context might even be more important and a better signal of brand safety and the sustainability of that relationship than it would be elsewhere. So I think that a lot of this like brand suitability because of the innovation that you've had through other technology is really, really important as we're starting to unlock more revenue in CTV. Publishers ultimately need to really lean into what are the video assets that they already own and how do they just augment those and really decorate them with content data that they have access to already. And that's where I think a lot of the value is going to come through.
Fair enough. And you're going to have an opportunity to expand on these topics when you moderate at the Connected TV Ad Summit in a couple of weeks. And we'll look forward to that. And thank you very much for your time today, Lauren.
Perfect. Really excited to talk to everybody in a couple of weeks.
Great. Thank you.